The Kellyan trade station buzzed with the vibrancy of intergalactic commerce. Lining the corridors were stalls filled with goods from various planets, bioluminescent fruits, exotic fabrics that shimmered in the light, and artifacts whispering tales from epochs long gone. Yet, it wasn't the merchandise that drew Lieutenant Jake Anderson's attention, it was the magnetic energy in the air, a tapestry of multiple worlds colliding. "Hey, Jake. You're daydreaming again," called out his friend and fellow pilot, Marcus, slapping him playfully on the back. Jake turned, shaking his head. "Just taking in the sights, Marcus. You know this place is incredible." "Sure, sights," Marcus smirked. "What about that alien ambassador you're supposed to meet? You're not thinking about her, are you?" "Just a little, maybe," Jake admitted, trying to suppress a smile. "Dude, you're toast," Marcus laughed, raising an eyebrow. "Remember the last time you got too close to one of them? You nearly got scrambled." "That was different," Jake argued without any real conviction. The last incident had been a misunderstanding, but he had to admit that his interest in aliens often led him close to trouble. As they ventured deeper into the station, the commotion ebbed to a low hum as they approached the diplomatic chamber. Jake's stomach tightened with an unusual mix of excitement and apprehension. This was unlike any regular meeting. He was tasked with finding common ground between humans and the Kellyan people. "Okay, serious face on," Marcus said, dramatically clasping Jake's shoulders. "You've got this." Jake nodded, straightening his uniform as he steeled himself for the encounter. Walking into the chamber, he was greeted by a striking vision that took him by surprise. Zyra stood amid the room, her form radiant as if the starlight had woven itself into her very being. Her skin shifted in colors, soft blues and vivid purples, betraying her fluctuating emotions. Her eyes, large and expressive, were framed by shimmering hair that danced like wisps of smoke. "Are you Lieutenant Anderson?" she inquired, her voice melodic. Yes, that's me," he managed, caught off guard by her presence. "Good, you've arrived on time," she remarked, a faint smile breaking across her face. "Your punctuality is refreshing." "Thanks. I appreciate that," Jake responded, feeling warmth spread through him. "I didn't expect such a welcoming atmosphere. Please have a seat." She gestured to the chairs arranged around a holographic map, emanating soft blue light. As they settled, Jake noticed how their knees nearly brushed. Instinctively, he shifted back, clearing his throat. "So, I thought we could start with the issues at hand. The trade routes? Let's explore more than just routes," Zyra proposed, leaning forward with genuine interest glimmering in her eyes. "It's more than commerce, it's about understanding each other's cultures." "What is your view on conflict?" "Conflict?" Jake echoed, surprised. I think it stems from fear and misunderstanding. We often react instead of communicate." "Excellent observation," she said, her expression thoughtful. "Where I come from, we embrace all emotions, even fear. It helps us grow." "What about your people?" Jake contemplated for a moment. "We're still learning how to embrace that. I guess we often push things away instead." "Then perhaps we can learn together," Zyra said, her gaze unwavering. As they began discussing their civilizations, the conversation flowed easily. Hours slipped by unnoticed. They found common ground in humor, sharing stories that unexpectedly bridged their worlds. "Did you really once pilot a ship with no control systems?" Zyra asked, laughter bubbling in her voice. "Hey, it wasn't my fault." "Technical malfunction," Jake retorted, grinning. "And I landed it safely, didn't I?" "Yes, but only after 3 asteroid dodges," she teased, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Let's focus on the positives," he countered, unable to hide his own smile. "I think I was pretty impressive under pressure." "You are quite impressive, Lieutenant," she replied, tilting her head slightly, an intimate gesture that made his heart quicken. Just as their laughter faded, the atmosphere shifted. The thought of deepening their bond hovered in the space between them. Jake's pulse echoed in his ears. He wanted to know more, to unearth the mystery behind Zyra's captivating personality. "Do you mind if I ask you something personal?" Jake ventured, unsure if he should cross that line. "Please, go ahead," she offered, her curiosity piqued. "What are your thoughts on relationships? With a human, for example?" He watched her carefully, gauging her reaction. A flicker of surprise crossed her features before she blended it with a serene expression. "I believe relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding, no matter the species. Curiosity should be embraced, not feared." Jake couldn't shake the intensity of her gaze. "That's a refreshing perspective, Zyra. I think it would benefit both our kinds." "You think so?" she asked, leaning closer, a gesture that sent shivers down Jake's spine. "What if I said I find humans to be intriguing creatures?" "I wouldn't be opposed to that," Jake replied, emboldened. "And I'd say your people are equally fascinating." Starry-eyed, they exchanged soft smiles. Jake's heart raced at the thought of touching her, feeling the warmth radiating between them. But he hesitated, unsure of whether to move forward, caught between attraction and the fear of crossing boundaries. Unbeknownst to Jake, Zyra seemed to feel the same way. Their fingers brushed as she reached for a holographic control, an innocent move that sent sparks flying between them. "Oops!" she exclaimed, withdrawing her hand quickly, a blush illuminating her cheeks reflected in the colors of her skin. Yeah. Who knew holograms could be so electrifying? Jake joked, trying to lighten the moment, though his own face felt warm. Their laughter intertwined, filling the chamber as they leaned back in their chairs, the air thick with anticipation for what would come next. Jake realized more than just negotiations were at stake. He found himself deeply invested, not just in the alliance between their worlds, but in something far more personal. "Let's keep talking," Jake said, falling back into the rhythm of their playful banter. "Next topic. What's your favorite Earth food?" Her eyes lit up with enthusiasm. "You know, I've always wanted to try pizza. It sounds interesting." "Pizza it is. We'll get you some good stuff next time." As they shared ideas and dreams, the two diplomats found themselves not just building a bridge between species, but between each other's hearts. What began as a mission morphed into something more unforeseen yet profound, an intertwining of destinies as vast as the cosmos itself. Chapter 2: Conversations Beyond Borders. The days flowed together like the river of stars flowing beyond the windows of the Kellyan trade station. Days turned into nights, and Jake and Zyra found themselves meeting more than just for negotiations. Their dialogue drifted effortlessly from politics to stories of their pasts, laughter echoing down the grand halls. "Jake, you have to try this," Zyra exclaimed one afternoon, her voice ringing with excitement as she handed him a fruit that glowed softly, its colors shifting under the light. "What is it?" Jake asked, eyeing it with curiosity. "It's called a Kellyan starfruit. Just trust me." He took a cautious bite, his eyes widening in surprise. "This is amazing. It's sweet and tangy at the same time. How do they grow these?" Zyra giggled, clearly delighted by his reaction. "Let's just say our soil has unique properties." Unique is an understatement. "You should see Earth fruit, it's nothing like this." "What's it like?" she asked, leaning forward, her interest palpable. "Simple, I guess. A lot of apples and oranges. But nothing that makes you go, wow, like this." He gestured with the starfruit. "This is a Fulan celebration for the taste buds. Then perhaps you can introduce me to Earth cuisine in exchange for our treats," she suggested, a smile gracing her lips. Jake nodded, his heart racing. "Definitely. Next time, I'll bring you pizza. It's an experience you won't forget." "Pizza? Is that food or some kind of sport?" she quipped, her eyes sparkling. "Both, if you're lucky," Jake replied, laughing. "But mostly food." As the banter continued, they fell effortlessly into a rhythm, exploring hopes and dreams. In that moment, they both realized they were forging a connection, genuine and rare. "You know," Zyra began, suddenly serious, "my people believe that our experiences shape who we are." "What experiences do you see as defining moments?" Jake paused, caught off guard by the weight of her question. "Honestly? My first solo flight. It was exhilarating and terrifying. I had to rely on nothing but myself, and it taught me to trust my instincts." "And did you?" She leaned forward, her gaze locked on his. "I did," Jake replied, feeling a sense of vulnerability in his honesty. "But sometimes I still struggle to know if I'm making the right choices. I mean, I'm here negotiating peace, sometimes it feels like I'm out of my depth." Zyra's expression softened. "Even the strongest of us have moments of doubt. It's a part of being alive. I have faced many uncertainties myself, especially being an ambassador far from home. However, it's vital to surround yourself with the right people." "Right people," Jake echoed softly. "Speaking of that, I'm really glad you're here by my side. I don't think anyone else could help me navigate this chaotic landscape. Here we are partners. We share knowledge and in turn we grow." She smiled, her confidence illuminating the space between them. "Partners, huh? That sounds great. Are you sure you can handle my chaotic human ways?" Jake teased, raising an eyebrow. "I find your chaos fascinating," she replied, her tone playful yet earnest. "I can observe and adapt. As you said, trust your instincts." "Good point," Jake said, taking a moment to reflect. "What about you? Any defining experiences?" Zyra considered for a moment, and Jake could see the gears turning in her mind. "In my youth, There was an annual festival in my home city known as the Fest of Colors. Everyone would immerse themselves in artistic expressions of our dual moons. I learned the importance of self-expression and community. It shaped my understanding of unity. Jake was captivated. That sounds beautiful. Do you still celebrate it? Not here, she said softly. But I miss it. The sense of family, the laughter, the colors, life felt electric. I want to bring that unity into my work as an ambassador. How about you? What does home feel like for you? Home? It's a bit of a complex idea, Jake admitted. I grew up in a small town surrounded by green fields and quiet evenings. But I've moved around so much for my career that I sometimes lose the feeling of home. I think he paused, smiling at her. You've given me a glimpse of what it could feel like again. Your humanity is remarkable, Jake. You value connection despite often being distant. It's a quality that could benefit both our kinds, Zyra observed, her eyes shining with admiration. Suddenly, Marcus burst into the chamber, pulling Jake out of their reverie. Hey, there you two lovebirds. You still talking about fruit? We're supposed to discuss trade proposals. Jake rolled his eyes, but he couldn't suppress the grin that broke out on his face. Marcus, you just interrupted the most enlightening conversation. Thanks a lot. Enlightening, huh? Marcus teased, undeterred. So, are you taking her home for dinner? Or are we sticking to the negotiations? Calm down, Marcus, Jake said, trying to keep a straight face. We're here to work, not to plan my romantic escapades. Yet, Zyra chimed in, a playful glint in her eyes. But I do think we've made sufficient progress today, even if my job is to assist with your, romantic endeavors. Hey, that's not the plan. Jake laughed, a warm sensation spreading through him. Unfazed, Marcus leaned against the wall, crossing his arms and grinning. Well, just remember the ancient advice. Don't mix business with pleasure, my friend. Zyra raised an eyebrow inquisitively, a smile creeping on her lips. But what if the business leads to pleasure? Jake chuckled, shaking his head. Touché, Zyra. You make a compelling case. Looks like I'm not needed here, Marcus said, stepping back with exaggerated flair. I'll just let my best friend flounder in his unique situation. Once Marcus left, Jake turned back to Zyra, who seemed to be soaking in their banter. You really caught me off guard there, he confessed. Good. I would hate for you to become too comfortable, she replied, her tone light yet heartfelt. Change is essential. Fair enough, Jake agreed, feeling a deeper connection blossoming between them. So, how do you plan to change this quirky diplomat into a better negotiator? You've already taken the first step by asking questions, Zyra suggested, her expression earnest. Keep asking, keep engaging, and the answers will reveal themselves. I guess I can handle that, Jake replied, his heart racing with anticipation for what lay ahead. As they pivoted back to the negotiations, Jake realized that it wasn't merely about intergalactic trade but about weaving the threads of their lives together. With every exchange, every shared laugh, he felt something special growing, something that transcended borders and brought two souls closer together beneath the stars. Chapter 3, The Tipping Point. The Kellyan trade station continued to buzz with energy as Jake and Zyra's partnership transformed into something deeper. They met frequently and their conversations gradually shifted from formal discussions to shared dreams and aspirations. The unique bond they were forming felt like a growing light in the depths of space. One evening, as they strolled through a lush garden at the center of the station, Zyra plucked a delicate flower resembling a glowing star from a nearby plant. The bioluminescent petals shimmered with colors that shifted in harmony with her gentle touch. What do you think? She asked, holding it up for inspection. Beautiful, isn't it? Jake leaned closer, captivated. It looks like something that should be in a gallery. It's just as captivating as you. Zyra chuckled, playfully swatting at him. Flattery will get you everywhere, Lieutenant. But it's true that these flowers represent connections. They draw energy from the light around them. Connections, huh? Might be a metaphor for us, Jake said, grinning as he accepted the flower. Precisely. But they also need nurturing, she replied, her expression suddenly serious. And that requires attention and care. Jake nodded, feeling the weight of her words. You really put a lot of thought into these things, don't you? It's part of my role, she said, her voice softening. As an ambassador, I'm here to nurture the understanding between our species. It's essential for peace. That's a lot of pressure, Jake said, genuine concern creeping into his tone. How do you deal with it? Sometimes I wonder if I'm doing it right, she admitted, a flicker of vulnerability breaking her usual composure. But then I remember the connections I make with individuals like you. They remind me of why I do this work. Zyra, he said, searching her gaze, your commitment is inspiring. Honestly, it makes me want to be better at this whole negotiation thing. They continued walking, the atmosphere changing as they navigated from the garden to the more formal meeting areas. Jake felt a sweet tension wrap around them like a soft melody, binding their thoughts and words as they ventured deeper into conversations and feelings of trust, learning, and a spark of something more. As they neared the meeting room, Marcus popped around a corner, his jovial energy bouncing off the walls. Hey, you two lovebirds again? What's cooking? Jake shot Marcus a look. You know, we're just discussing trade negotiations and… Yeah. You mean how to sweep Zyra off her feet? Marcus interrupted with a sly grin. Very mature, Marcus, Jake groaned, half laughing and half embarrassed. But I'm not trying to sweep anyone off their feet. Zyra laughed, clearly enjoying the banter. It's okay, Jake. If he thinks I'm interesting enough to be swept off my feet, let him think that. You see, Marcus boomed, smacking Jake's shoulder. You're in, pal. Enough drama. Let's get to work, Jake said, feigning an air of seriousness. Zyra smiled, her demeanor brightening. Yes, let's dive into the matters at hand. I've prepared a detailed analysis of potential trade partnerships. I think, for a start, we should focus on shared resources. As they settled into the meeting room, the dynamic shifted back to professional. The serious atmosphere enveloped them like a thick fog. Jake felt his heart racing, nerves bubbling beneath the surface. Right, Jake began, gathering his thoughts as the glow of holographic displays illuminated the room. What are the most vital resources we should focus on? Let's discuss the mineral exports from Kalia. Your people would greatly benefit from our regenerative alloys, Zyra stated, her confidence returning. Agreed. And on the human side, we have innovations in technology that could revolutionize your energy systems, Jake said, feeling the excitement building. This could be a game changer for both of us. As they began delving into the intricacies of their negotiations, the door swung open and a group of Kalian delegates entered, ready to join in. Jake felt his momentum falter and the energy shifted. The stark formality settled in as the meeting commenced, each individual adding to the conversation. Hours passed as ideas bounced around the room, but Jake's mind kept drifting back to Zyra. He caught her glancing his way multiple times, and each shared look sent a spark through him. He savored the connection even in the midst of formal discussion. Finally, as the meeting wrapped up and delegates began to leave, Zyra turned to Jake with a smile. You managed to hold your own in there, even with all the pressure. I was mostly trying to keep my mind off your mesmerizing presence, Jake teased, a sense of relief washing over him. That's one way to approach it, she said with mock seriousness, but maybe next time we can find a space without an audience. Jake's heart raced at her suggestion. Next time for sure. I'd like to have a chance to discuss plans without the distraction. I'd enjoy that, she replied, her gaze warming. And maybe we can talk about our next meeting where we finally test Earth's pizza? I'd love that, but prepare yourself. Only the best pizza from a local joint will do. No frozen stuff. As they moved closer to the door, Marcus appeared again, exaggeratedly rubbing his hands together. So, what's the plan, huh? You two have something cooking? Jake shot him a warning look. Nothing's cooking, Marcus. Focus on work instead of matchmaking. Work? Oh, come on. The sparks are practically flying here. Do you need me to organize a dance, too? Stop while you're ahead, Zyra interjected lightly, her laughter dancing in the air. After all this, I'm surprised you don't have an entourage of admirers, Marcus quipped, narrowly dodging a PLA. He too alone once again. Jake turned to Zyra, a warmth blooming. We really should have more time like this without interruptions. Absolutely, she agreed, stepping closer, her energy palpable. I'm glad you handle the chaos well. How about we handle some chaos of our own? Jake suggested, half joking. What did you have in mind? Zyra raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Let's see if we can explore the markets together tomorrow, Jake proposed. No formalities, just you, me, and whatever catches our eye. That sounds delightful, Zyra replied, her smile illuminating the space between them. Perhaps I could show you some Kalian marvels in return. As long as we can find that pizza afterward, I'm in. Deal, she said, laughter dancing in her voice. In that moment, Jake felt a rush of possibilities swirl between them. Neither spoke of what lay ahead, but the promise of exploring not just foreign markets, but the depths of their connection felt electric. Their futures intertwined as they walked toward the station's exit, the stars beyond the glass reflecting the growing bond they couldn't quite name just yet. This partnership felt different, layered with an urgency to discover more than just their worlds. Together, they were creating their own universe filled with possibilities and a spark of something remarkable. Chapter 4, Shadows of Intrigue. The following day, Jake awoke with a mix of anticipation and excitement. He felt the weight of the arrangements he'd made for his outing with Zyra pressing on him. Today wasn't just about exploring the local markets, it was an opportunity to dive deeper into the connection they shared. He met her in the same lush garden where they had first wandered together. Zyra stood against a backdrop of vibrant flowers, her luminescent skin glowing softly in the morning light. The sight of her made his heart race. "Good morning," Jake called out, waving as he approached, holding a small bag of earth snacks. "Ready to explore?" "Good morning, Jake. I was just admiring this garden. It reminds me of home," she said, her eyes sparkling with delight. "What do you have there?" "Just a little something from Earth to share. Thought you might want to try some trail mix," he said, pulling out the bag. "It's not fancy, but it's packed with flavor and energy." "I'd love to," she exclaimed, accepting the bag eagerly, her fingers brushing against his. The moment felt electric, and he struggled to suppress a smile. "Let's get going then," he suggested, steering her gently toward the main marketplace. As they made their way through the bustling corridors of vendors and merchants, Jake marveled at how the vibrant displays filled the space. The air was thick with tantalizing scents and laughter, something he hadn't felt in a long time. "Look at that." Jake pointed to a stall overflowing with glowing crystals. "What do you think those are?" "Those are celestite crystals," Zyra replied, practically bouncing with excitement. "They're used for energy storage. Highly valued, though I doubt they're within our budget. It's worth asking about. We might be able to trade something valuable." "You never know," Jake said, already stepping toward the stall. "Let me handle this one," Zyra said, her tone playful yet firm. "Trust me to charm the vendor." "All right, show me what you've got," he chuckled, leaning against the stall as she engaged the vendor, her alien grace captivating the crowd that began to gather. "Greetings. These are indeed exquisite crystals," she began, her tone smooth. "What do you trade them for?" The vendor strode to face her. "Ah, an ambassador. I would expect nothing less. These are rare. They require a trade of significant value. Perhaps a collaboration then?" Jake chimed in, eager to support her efforts. "We could offer some of our technology, some advanced communication devices." The vendor stroked his chin. "That could be worth considering, but I am unsure 1 or 2 devices are enough." "Let's sweeten the deal," Zyra said, leaning forward slightly, a glint in her eye. "What if we added some of your delicious fare to the mix? A taste of Earth and Kalia working together." "Now you're talking. A culinary exchange? That piques my interest," the vendor replied, lifting an eyebrow. Jake exchanged a glance with Zyra, their shared enthusiasm palpable. "How about a crate of trail mix and some Earth snacks in return for a couple of those crystals?" he suggested, hopeful. "Done," the vendor responded, grinning widely. A taste of both worlds, indeed. As their deal was made, Zyra turned back to Jake, her excitement evident. "See? I told you it was worth it. We pulled off quite the exchange." "Good call. Those crystals are beautiful," Jake admired, taking one from her outstretched hand. "What would you do without me?" she teased, her eyes sparkling. "I'd probably be stuck in a long negotiation," he laughed, "so thank you for that." After their first successful transaction, they wandered deeper into the market, their playful banter flowing effortlessly. They eventually stopped at a food stall filled with an array of Kalian dishes. "Wow, look at that," Jake exclaimed, pointing to a brightly colored dish. "What is it?" "That's Kaleen Rava, spicy but delicious," Zyra explained, her voice filled with anticipation. "You must try it." "Let's order some," he suggested, already stepping up to the vendor. Once their food was ordered, they settled on a bench nearby, watching people mill about the marketplace. The bustle around them created a vibrant atmosphere, but Jake was focused on Zyra, the way her eyes lit up as she experienced her culture. "What's your favorite memory from the Fest of Colors?" Jake asked, curious about the festival that had so captivated her. "Ah, definitely the performances. There was one, in particular, where dancers shared stories of our histories. You could feel the rhythm of the moons in every movement." she recalled, her gaze drifting off into memories. It was breathtaking. I'd love to see that someday. Just hearing you talk about it makes me want to experience it, Jake replied, genuinely intrigued. Oh, you would fit right in. I'm sure they would love a human dancer. She laughed, her voice light. Me? Dance? Not happening, he said, shaking his head. The only 2 left feet are mine. That's the spirit. We'll just dance with a partner so your 2 left feet don't trip over themselves, she quipped, her laughter contagious. Their food arrived, steaming and aromatic. Oh wow, it smells amazing, Jake exclaimed, digging in. Zyra took a bite and let out a satisfied hum. Delicious. Just the right amount of spice, too. Jake ate eagerly, his enthusiasm catching her attention. You know, this is just as good as I hoped it would be, he said, savoring each bite. Soon, I'll have you trying all sorts of Callian delicacies. We can compare, she said, eyes bright with anticipation. Just then, a shadow fell over their cheerful table. A tall figure with an imposing presence stepped forward. Ambassador Zyra, the Callian man said firmly, his deep voice resonating. Jake felt a sudden chill. Ambassador, he echoed, glancing between Zyra and the newcomer. Yes? Can I help you? Zyra answered, her demeanor shifting into a professional tone. You have a moment? We need to speak. The man's eyes flickered to Jake and the tension rose like smoke. Is it urgent? Zyra asked, frowning slightly. We have some concerns about your recent negotiations with the humans. I believe it's crucial we discuss our pathway moving forward. Jake felt a knot tighten in his stomach. Do we need to discuss this here? He chimed in, trying to regain control of the conversation. I'm not sure this is the right place. Sometimes urgent matters require immediate attention, the Callian man replied curtly, ignoring Jake's concerns. You have to excuse us, Zyra said, her voice steady but tempered with uncertainty. We were just celebrating some new collaborations. Celebrations can be postponed, the man insisted. Your priorities must align with our collective futures. Jake watched as Zyra stiffened, sensing the shift in her mood. You're right. But give us a moment, she said, an edge creeping into her tone. Of course. Just make sure you remember what's at stake here, the man replied before turning and walking away. Jake felt the atmosphere weigh down between them, thick and charged. What was that all about? He asked, concern written across his face. Nothing I can't handle, she assured him, but Jake could tell the encounter rattled her. It's just, there's some fear about the alliance. There are those who believe that working with you will compromise Callian integrity. I get it, Jake nodded, his worry deepening. But we're not here to take anything from your people. We want to build something meaningful. Yes, she said, her tone earnest, but doubt clouded her eyes. But there are factions that see it differently. I just wish they could see what we're creating together. Jake reached for her hand instinctively. They will see it. They just need to witness what we have firsthand. Zyra's eyes softened and she squeezed his hand in return. Thank you, Jake. I needed this moment. I'm always here for you, he replied, heart racing as their connection deepened. Now, she said, taking a breath, let's not allow them to ruin our day. Back to the celebration. Let's do it, Jake agreed, letting the tension roll off his shoulders. As they stood up to explore more of the market, a sense of determination took root. They would face whatever struggles came their way together. Today was about discovery. It was about bringing together 2 worlds and the promise of what was yet to come. Chapter 5, Resilience and Resolution. The vibrant chaos of the marketplace continued to buzz around them as Jake and Zyra turned back to their exploration. The dark shadow of their previous conversation hung in the air, but they both understood the importance of moving forward. Do you want to try something else? Jake proposed, pulling her toward a stall selling colorful pastries. Absolutely. Callian desserts are the best. Zyra's enthusiasm was contagious. I can't wait for you to try this. It's called Lunalai, made with sweet moon fruit. Sweet moon fruit? Now, that's a name to live up to, Jake chuckled as they approached the vendor. The pastries glistened in the light, a variety of colors that mirrored the stars above. 2 Lunalai, please. Zyra announced, her radiant smile illuminating the space around them. Coming right up, the vendor replied cheerfully, quickly packaging the treats. You won't be disappointed. As they took their pastries and moved to a quieter corner of the market, Jake took a tentative bite of the dessert. His eyes widened in surprise. This is amazing. It's like eating happiness. Zyra laughed, delight dancing in her eyes. I told you. Now you understand why I love Callian cuisine. Absolutely. I might just have to take a crash course on how to cook these, Jake said with a grin. Careful what you wish for, she warned, a playful smirk on her lips. I might just challenge you to a cook-off. Deal? But only if I can make pizza as an ingredient, Jake replied, raising an eyebrow. Pizza? You're determined to bring that into every conversation. I'm intrigued, she remarked with mock seriousness. Just give me a chance. It's a classic, just like this dessert, he replied, winking at her. As they enjoyed their pastries, Jake felt a sense of ease settle over them. The worries from earlier felt manageable, overshadowed by their shared moments. After finishing the last bites, he turned the conversation back to their previous discussion. About what happened earlier. I just want you to feel safe, he said, sincerity punctuating his tone. You don't have to navigate this alone. Zyra's expression softened, her voice gentle. I appreciate that, Jake. It's just, there are factions that don't understand my vision. They want to keep Kalia separate from the rest of the universe. It's frustrating. You're fighting for something meaningful, he encouraged. What we're building can change everything. Don't let them make you doubt that. I want to believe that, she admitted. But moments like today make it hard. Every path worth walking has its obstacles, Jake said, firm in his conviction. It's how we deal with them that matters. Zyra pondered his words, and Jake watched her, admiring the determination in her vibrant eyes. You know, you're right. I can't let them dictate the direction of my mission. Exactly. Sometimes you have to push through the noise to find your clarity, Jake expressed, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. Clarity, huh? I like that, she replied, smiling. Perhaps we should make a plan to counteract their negativity. Absolutely. We'll show them what a partnership can achieve. Let's organize an event showcasing what we can do together. We'll invite them too, Jake suggested. A demonstration of unity? She asked, leaning closer, her interest piqued. Exactly. We display our achievements and how collaboration improves both our cultures. If we do it right, they won't be able to ignore it, Jake said, feeling momentum building. I love this idea, but it will take a lot of effort to get everyone on board, she cautioned, though excitement danced in her voice. Then let's gather our resources and get to work. We'll make it happen, he reassured her. All right, partner. I'll prepare my team and we can message your colleagues about logistics. Zyra declared, determination etched into her features. Perfect. I'll get started on a draft for a proposal to solidify our plans. This is going to be great, Jake exclaimed, the thrill of the challenge invigorating him. Just then, a familiar voice interrupted their newfound excitement. Hey, you too. Still plotting world domination? It was Marcus striding towards them, a mischievous grin plastered across his face. Jake rolled his eyes good-naturedly. You know it, but you're not invited. World domination is a team project. How can I help? Marcus asked, hands on his hips. Zyra chuckled, glancing at Jake. It's good to have support even if it's whimsical. Whimsical sounds perfect for this. Marcus exclaimed. Tell me more about your brilliant plan. We want to organize a demonstration of unity between our people to counteract any negativity floated around, Zyra explained, her excitement evident. Count me in. I have brilliant ideas. Let's make this unforgettable, Marcus said, pumping a fist into the air. Jake couldn't contain his grin. You're already thinking of some over-the-top stunt, aren't you? Only the best for our partnership, Marcus answered, his enthusiasm infectious. I'll even bring in some Earth celebrities to perform. Earth celebrities? You think they'd find that interesting? Jake asked, raising an eyebrow. Absolutely. It might just pique the interest of some naysayers. Let's draw them in with spectacular displays, Marcus replied, his energy unwavering. Zyra glanced back and forth between the two, her voice playful yet serious. Just remember, it's about the message and the collaboration, not just grand theatrics. Message received, Ambassador, Marcus said, saluting dramatically. We'll keep the focus on unity but with flair. Agreed, Jake added with a nod. We'll work on our vision, combine our strengths, and leave a lasting impact. Together, Zyra emphasized, her gaze softening as she looked at both men. That's what will make the difference. With plans solidifying, the trio began brainstorming ideas. They bounced concepts off one another, food displays, cultural exchanges, and even art exhibitions showcasing both their worlds. The excitement grew as they began sketching out logistics. Hours passed in a whirlwind of creativity and collaboration. As they wrapped up their meeting, Jake felt an energy coursing through him. This could really work. I believe in this. Then that makes 3 of us, Marcus said, clapping Jake on the back. And we'll get more people involved. Zyra nodded, visibly relieved yet excited. I'll gather my team and gather the necessary resources. We have momentum now. Great. Jake beamed. Let's regroup tomorrow and start hammering out the details. As they parted ways, Jake felt a new sense of purpose. The warmth he felt with Zyra extended beyond the burgeoning connection. There was hope in what they were creating, a bridge between worlds that felt more tangible than ever. He watched Zyra walk away, her head held high, determination radiating from her. He knew they would meet challenges, but together they had built something worth fighting for. And even within the shadows, they would illuminate the path ahead, fueled by the kinship they had founded amid the stars.